everyone. Thanks for listening to the Sergio Nazzaro podcast. I'm Sergio Nazzaro, the founder and CEO of, my life. I've grown up here in Colorado and I've decided to stay put as I continue to pursue being an entrepreneur and growing my business as a real estate agent. Prior to this, I graduated from the United States Air Force Academy and served my country for 11 years before becoming a CrossFit coach. I have a lovely wife, Lizzie, and we are in the process of growing our family and living here in the Swans Lake neighborhood. For the last 2 years, I've committed to documenting my process in both my personal and professional life as a means of journaling, and hopefully helping others along the way. So listen in as I share the next chapter of my story. All right, episode number 6. We are back at it, and I can't believe I've already been doing 6 episodes. Pretty stoked that I've stayed fairly consistent with this. Actually, really consistent. And something I mentioned on my Instagram stories this week is, when you start to run your own business, keeping those promises to yourself. It's almost like you can guarantee your own success as long as you stay consistent, keep those things that you say you're going to do. And so I'm stoked. I'm going to celebrate that a little bit, right? A little pat on the back, a little clap for myself. But it's Sunday morning, right? We got a Broncos home game coming up this afternoon that I'll be headed to. And I always like to record these on Sunday before I get going. And so this morning, I decided I wanted to go on a mountain bike ride, right? It's Sunday morning. It's nice and early. I'm doing sober October, so it's not like I'm nursing a hangover. It's not like I'm not getting good sleep. I am feeling good. And so I decided that I was going to go over to Green Mountain and take a bike ride. And my intent, right? I've been trying to set intent for things that I've been doing in my life. My intent for that bike ride was to create stillness or create peace in my life. There's this song that I listened to this morning. It's by this artist that I just found. I'm sure some of you guys may know who he is, but the song, and we'll put this, you're going to hear it in a second. It's called Pomegranate. The guy's name's Coda the Friend. This is it.
When everything you wanted, you get it, then all you want is peace, and that comes with a whole different struggle. Homie, ain't nothing free.
Basically, the premise of this song, I'm gonna play that a little bit again.
The times that I was the villain and she consoled me and told me I was gonna be great. Boy, am I late? I peep the calendar like how often can I escape? I take a breath, accepting what's seeming to be my fate, and then I travel back to the Converses and dungarees when we ain't had a water or sunlight to care for money trees. When everything you wanted, you get it, then all you want is peace, and that comes with a whole different struggle. Homie, ain't nothing free.
And I heard that song this morning, and basically what he's saying is that, you get everything you want, you work towards these goals, and then all you want is peace, and that can be a struggle, and that can be a battle too. And what I find interesting about that is it takes effort. It takes effort to create peace in our life. We are bombarded by the time we get up with cell phone, text messages, emails, social media, conversations, you name it. Our life can get bombarded with external inputs. And so it can be a battle. And I don't want to use the word battle because that makes it sound like it's hard and it's like it's worse than it is. But it definitely takes effort to create peace and stillness in your life. And I think it's really important that we create that so that we can get back in touch with ourselves and we can tune into who we are, where we are, and what we need. And what I've found for me is I do this on many different ways, right? And this is what works for me. Going on a bike ride, mountain bike ride, throwing my headphones in and just riding and like tuning out and just like being in the moment and taking in the scenery. And then taking out my headphones and being able to like hear the sounds of nature and the sounds of the bike and the sounds of me breathing and saying, oh shit, this hurts, right, to myself. It creates this moment where I'm just connected, fully connected. And that happens a lot for me when I'm in nature. And it happens a lot for me when I'm practicing my meditation. What I realize in this past year is that nature, solitude, and fellowship are what give me peace. And it took a long time for me to figure that out. And it took somebody else helping me kind of point that out. That's what creates peace in my life. And so I know when things are a little shaky or when I'm riding that wave of things being busy and I'm trying to come back in and get in tune, it's one of those 3 things that I need to do. All 3 is the best, right? Being with somebody out in nature, away from distractions, Like you get all three of those and like, that's going to really fill my cup. But that takes work, and that takes, scheduling those with people or scheduling time with yourself. And that's effort. And so this morning I decided I wanted to go out, and I really enjoyed my bike ride. And it was a great way to start a Sunday before I came back and started my day. And I would encourage you to explore whatever it is that creates peace or fulfillment in your life, and do a little bit more of that. And it doesn't have to be these full-blown vacations or trips. Try to create moments, whatever that looks like for you. It could be a bath. It could be a walk. It could be just cooking dinner. Explore that, because when we can connect with ourselves and we can be in tune with what exactly we need in that moment, inevitably, I think we have more full cups, and I think we live a life that's filled with purpose. And it's interesting that, when I'm on these walks, or when I'm, in these moments of creating peace, the thoughts that come up, the conversations that I had. And so earlier this week, and I've been having this conversation for a long time with one of my coaches, is the idea behind us placing meaning on things that don't need meaning. An event happens. This is an example. An event happens, and it's neither good nor bad, but we choose whether it's good or bad. And then by that meaning that we place on it, we either choose to suffer, or we choose to, live into that moment on the other side of suffering. And so what I've noticed is that, and what he brought to my attention, is that when we place this meaning, we're creating duality. And that duality is like these opposing forces. So the way I like to think of two examples, this most simple one is, let's talk about, and this is the one I brought up to him, is cold weather. Okay. And if you want to think about a horizontal line, okay, going from left to right for you listeners, or for you people who are watching that, you can see the two fingertips here, going from left to right. In the middle, right, of that line, of that horizontal line, is neutrality, right? You're neither has a positive or a negative effect for you. The duality of it is you either hate the cold weather, or you love it. And depending on where you are on that line, the further away you are from indifference or neutrality, you've created another point on that line. So if you love the cold, you probably dislike or hate the heat. So what happens is, when it's cold, you have a preference and you're loving it and you're enjoying it. But when it's hot, and I'm speaking for myself because I fucking hate the heat. When it's hot, right, that can create a very negative imprint on that line. And so the goal is to basically try to shorten the distance between those 2 points, right? You love cold and you hate, you love cold and you hate heat, and bring those together. And by bringing those together to that neutral point of indifference, then those moments, those events have less of an impact on you, right? So, right, when we're close to neutrality, when we are close to indifference, when it's cold and we're, indifferent about it, well then when it's hot, we are also indifferent about it. So hopefully you can see that when we're on that duality, and I'm still trying to understand this myself, and the more that I kind of unpack this and uncover it, I'll share it with you. But the more that we can kind of bring those points into the center, the less likely these external events will have an impact on us. And so I've been really trying to focus on where I place unnecessary meaning, right? Things aren't good or bad, they just are. And I've really tried to take some time and take a step back on where I'm doing that. And I do it in a lot of places in my life, as I'm sure a lot of us do. But I know that when I place meaning on something, right? Especially like in real estate, this is a perfect example. The highs are really high and the lows can be really low, right? You're either crushing it or you're in the gutter and you're not feeling like you're doing a whole lot of work. But the higher those highs are, the lower those valleys are going to be. And so the goal, at least for myself, is to kind of find a neutral equilibrium spot where, I'm just moving right in the middle there and things are just kind of staying right where they're at. Celebrate those victories, celebrate those losses. But my goal right now is to really try to be indifferent about the outcome. Because when I can be indifferent, whether something happens or something else happens, my response is the same. And I'm sure a lot of you are being like, well, yeah, but I mean, then you sound like a robot and you're not showing any emotion. It's not that I'm not showing any emotion, right? Because the third part of this, and this is the part that I'm still trying to peel back, is I have a preference. I prefer to be cold. But when that preference is also that I prefer not to be hot, and that's closer to that neutral point, that just means that my distance between those 2 points is much less, so that my swings, my emotional swings or my feelings toward those are a lot less as well. And that's how we can start to stay in control of our emotions, of our feelings, of our thoughts. And it's just something I'm exploring, right? I don't say I have a full grasp of it, but it made a lot of sense to me. And that all came from me creating stillness this week. And I think having stillness is like such an interesting thing, right? Like when it happens, sometimes we create it, sometimes we just stumble upon it and we find it. And the thoughts and being able to connect on different things like that in our life and kind of peel back different layers of our life come from those moments when things are quiet. And I think another thing that kind of comes from those moments is creativity. For me, right? When I am able to kind of really be aligned with who I am and what I'm doing, creativity starts to spark, creativity starts to flow. Now, Sober October has given me the ability to have very clean thoughts. And by clean thoughts, I mean like my mental clarity is great. My cognitive function is great. You know, I'm not nursing lack of sleep or nursing a hangover or doing any of that. So like I feel like I'm just like, you know, firing on all cylinders right now. And so, you know, I made a couple videos, a couple reels this week on Instagram, and one went viral. You know, for me, right? Like, I guess you guys get to define whatever viral is, but, you know, it had like 350,000 views, you know, almost 5,200 likes, a shit ton of shares, and a lot of comments, which is awesome, right? That's cool that happened. And that came from me just having a clear mental state, being able to think creatively. What I didn't see as an adverse side effect of a video going viral is the comment section is fucking crazy. People are wild. The video I made was just to poke fun a little bit at people moving to Colorado from out of state. I chose Californians, easy target. I got a lot of buddies who live in California. I used to live in California. I love it, right? But I was just poking fun about Californians be able to move here, right? Cash offers on homes and, you know, basically just, you know, run the tables and get all these homes under contract. And it was all in fun. And it was to the tune of The Lion King. So if you're curious what it is, go check it out. But the comment section like spiraled into like this, and I'm not surprised. Like it's the lowest common denominator with these trolls on the internet. Most of them were good, but there's a few where it turned it into stuff about like, California or mask mandates or vaccines. And I'm like, how the fuck did we get here? This is about real estate. But people will spiral out of control and people will start to talk shit. And the messages I got saying that I shouldn't be sticking up for Californians in my direct messages blew my mind. And so at that point, like I guess I don't have a responsibility, but I chose to take a responsibility and to really help people see like, maybe how short-sighted it is to classify one group of people, in this case, Californians, and just hate them, right? There's comments where people were like, hey, you know, my neighbors, they're from California. They just bought a home. Fuck them. And I'm like, in the comment section, I just replied, why don't you go introduce yourself? Why don't you just go talk to them? Maybe you have more in common than you think you do. And one person on there was like, hey, I took your advice. I introduced myself. They're actually really nice people. Yeah, no shit. They're humans. We're all humans. We all have a lot in common. All right. Like, you know how many people sold in Colorado and probably moved to fucking Idaho and bought a home in cash? Like those people probably hate people from Colorado. All your weed money, right? Like, and I get that, right? But we're all just individuals. We're all people and we have more in common than we don't. But the fact that these things spiraled out of control into obviously like the same bullshit everybody is just talking about, vaccines and masks. Here's some advice. Shut the fuck up. All right? Like there's more to talk about than just that. Pull your head out of the fucking weeds and realize there's more to life than just that. But those are unintended consequences of me like having this video go viral. It was really wild. Listen, this this is getting a lot more fun, right? These podcasts are getting a lot more fun. I always find it funny. I go back and listen to them, and like the transition points between topic to topic are sometimes so abrupt, and sometimes they make no sense. But I appreciate you guys and you gals just like sticking along with me and just, taking 15 minutes out of your week to listen to it. I know there's plenty of other things that y'all could be doing, but it does mean a lot. And, listen, if you have the extra time, if you could leave a review or just click 5 stars or whatever I don't even know what the metric is. It would mean a lot. Or if you know of anybody that would like benefit from this, please just share it with them, and I promise you guys, I'll continue to work on this craft. I'll continue to be better, but it means a lot that you guys are even taking the time to listen to this. I do want to leave you with this, and I'm going to try to start doing this more and more. But this is my question of the week. So as you're listening to this on Monday morning or Monday, this is my question for you for the week. Where can you change the narrative in your life to have more fun? I want you to ask that question to yourself. I want you to marinate on that question. And I want you guys to send me whatever comes to mind. I think there's spots in our life where we choose to take the hard path sometimes, and we choose to, get very one-dimensional in our life, whether that's family or work or, chores or whatever the case may be. And sometimes we just have to pull back and realize we only got one shot at this life, and we just have to have a little more fun. I'm in the process of doing that too. I hope you guys are as well. Thanks again for tuning in. And until episode 7, I'll see y'all next week. Peace.